Hello. I thought I'd do a little bit of match analysis from the Flat Earth tourney that we ran last weekend. Quite a lot of good matches, but I'm going to take a look at the losers finals between ZZaid and Palshia, which is very close game 5. Just as a heads up before I get into it, I'm going to be pausing a lot as we go through this match, so if you want to actually just watch the match properly, I'll link the stream VOD in the description, so you can go check that out separately. If anyone is particularly interested in seeing analysis for other matches, let me know. I'm happy to take a look at whatever match. Yeah, so quick background for this match. So this tourney, Flat Earth, is the last tourney of each PR season. And this year, Flat Earth 2025 was by far the biggest tourney of the year. Most of our tourneys were around 8 to 10 people, but this one we had 14, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, like I said, there were a lot of close matches, especially in the top 4. Talk a little bit about each player. So ZZaid is a newer player. He joined the server at the beginning of September. But despite that, he's had very good showings in the 3 tourneys he's played in. He went 5th, 6th in Dawn of the Downed and Fall of the Mechs. And then here in this tourney, Flat Earth, he went 3rd. So despite being a new player, very strong showings. And from my experience playing him, he has good instincts about playing safely. It's good damage from openings and follow-ups. Generally a solid player. Palshia is also technically a newer player. He's a Japanese player. He's played V2 for many years and he's a strong player within the Japanese community. But he's new to BR. He joined the server in March and started playing tourneys, I think, from April. So despite being new to BR, he kind of stormed onto the scene. He's won 3 tourneys, 4 tourneys, 3 tourneys. And he regularly places top 3. So a very strong player, despite technically being new. Yeah, so ZZaid and Palshia met earlier on in Flat Earth in upper round 2. That was a pretty easy 2-0 for Palshia. ZZaid wasn't putting too much pressure on him, so Palshia was able to kind of just do what he wanted. Got a lot of easy hits in with his shotgun. Talk about the builds for this match. So ZZaid's Swift Gravity is one that he's used for a good couple weeks now. LR Gravity itself is fairly storied core, I guess. Yeah, the player used Peregrine Gravity for many years, and Gravity itself is a very solid gun. It's a little hard to use because the air shot doesn't have direct fire, but the ground shot is very powerful, very strong and fast. Good combo potential and solid damage, and the air shot can easily catch opponents off guard, especially ones who like jumping a lot. I think Tomahawk G works well with Gravity, both for comboing into the ground shot and into the air shot. This Criminal Needle Delta build is very solid. Needle Delta and diving are all really solid generalist parts. Quick, big hitboxes. Quick Flyer is solid. Quick Jump also alleviate the landing lag a bit. I personally prefer wide jump with DF, but quick jump is solid as well. Over on Palshia's side, this Ape Shotgun. So Palshia, it seems like he brings out a new pair of builds for each tourney, at least for the past few tourneys. This Ape Shotgun I've not seen before this tourney, but he's been using it throughout. Flat Earth, MG Shotgun, similar to LR Gravity. Well-proven build. MG's burst movement is really strong, and they have really high trade potential, so it's fairly free in most situations for the MG Shotgun player to just dash in and mash B, and even if they get hit, they'll usually outtrade. Brody and Throwing P output a lot of mid and long range pressure, especially with their long-lasting blasts. And Brody also has a lot of damage, so it helps enable high damage follow-ups when he knocks down a shotgun. And then the Chicken Heart Gravity is not something he used before. Earlier on, he was using Ruhiel Glider. Before this match, actually, Palshia dropped down from winners finals versus me. I think because he used Gravity in grand finals after winning this match. So I think maybe he was trying to experiment with a Gravity build here in losers finals against ZZaid to try to bring something out new against me in grand finals. But yeah, Gravity, like I talked about with ZZaid, solid gun, works well with PNG blast that Palshia is rocking it with. And then Chicken Heart short thrust, also very tried and tested. Very quick movement, very minimal punish windows. Yeah, so I think ready to just get into it. Yeah, so ZZaid, I mean, Switch Charge is good. It's not quite that good. So, Palshia has enough distance that he has plenty of time to react and dash away. And when he's in a good position, he just launches out a burrow. Simple punish for him. That is a shit ton of damage. Oh my god. Like, I know Burrow does a lot of damage, like 80 something base, I think, but that's 94 damage on Swift. That's crazy. This floats from ZZaid. Where did he launch those? Yeah, those all kind of go in the same spot. The pods are useful for very simple low effort pressure. You just press L and then they go. But like if you launch them like ZZaid did here, where they're all kind of in the same spot, then it's really diminishing how much pressure you can get out of a pod. It's like basically as useful as only launching one pod. And you have, with float, you have 3 to use. So spreading them out a bit more. But then when you launch them and where you launch them, what direction you point them as well, all that helps maximize how much pressure you can get out of a pod. So here, these pods, like they're just nowhere near Palshia, and they're all like in the same spot, so you can easily just dash around all 3 of them. Palshia keeping his distance. Gravity, like I said, is very fast and strong gun, so he's recognizing that playing around its range, or outside of its range. Oh my god, that burrow again. Like I think at this point, ZZaid's only gotten hit by 2 burrows. It's already almost 200 damage. He got hit by 1. No, he didn't get hit by the trio. Or the throwing P. Yeah, so just shit ton of chip damage from the burrow Ps. ZZaid swaps over to the criminal. I don't mind this dash in from Palshia. There was a little bit of an opening while ZZaid was just sitting there mashing. Good charge from ZZaid though. Good recognition that he was in a dangerous spot. It was the best option for him to avoid potential damage. Ah. Yeah, I don't hate that needle. It's a tough position. Like, I think obviously you'd hope that that criminal charge would hit. I think you probably expected it to hit, but it just didn't quite. And needle has high down, but not enough down to fully down an MG with max down, which Palshia is at. He actually hadn't gotten hit until this point. Yeah, and then ZZaid stays close enough that Palshia can just trade that with a shotgun. So that needle, like I said, I don't hate it, but he probably needed to check out a bomber pod or maybe put a little bit more distance before going for that. Nice chips with the delta. Ooh. Yeah, so he's hovering in this mid range. He throws out those dashes, which is fairly committal. Palshia recognizes that. He tries to dash in. He actually like has this opening, but like it's just a little bit quicker to fire your needle than Palshia is to fire shotgun, like 5 frames maybe. So he gets that down. Nice charge follow up. Yeah, that was good. So Palshia's in rebirth. ZZaid sees that. He sees Palshia jump. He recognizes that Palshia has a fairly good opportunity to just dash in, go for a shotgun. So he jumps back. Palshia sees that as well. He recognizes that ZZaid can see him potentially dashing in, so he doesn't fully commit for that. He's caught by a diving there. Yeah. So Palshia's just hanging around this mid-range, dashing side to side, trying to find an opening to dash in a shotgun. He's getting shipped a lot by Needle and Delta, but gets a shotgun. Ooh! Tries to dash in there. He gets caught by a gravity air shot, I think. Yeah, gravity air shot. I don't know if... I doubt ZZaid was trying to catch him with that, because that's not really a thing you can... It's like really hard to do because the gravity air shot projectile, or really just gravity projectile in general, is so small until it actually reaches its max range, it expands. So maybe got a little bit lucky there, but we take those. Now Palshia's gravity is out. It's still at full health. Yeah, Palshia's just keeping his distance against his gravity build. Ooh. Yeah, he's just keeping his distance. I think he thinks that the Swift has better movement than his chicken, so he can't really contest within gravity's range, even though they both have the same gun. And if he gets hit by the gravity, then he's in the air. He doesn't have that much direct pressure. ZZaid can just combo gravity ground shots. So Palshia's trying to avoid getting caught into that situation. Crescent and Cockroach have decent enough long range pressure that he doesn't need to worry about that. This charge. Yeah, I don't hate this from ZZaid. Palshia dash there, but he has short thrust, so it's like a good amount of time for him to see that and get out of the way. Small punish there. I think he probably could have gotten a little bit more. Maybe thrown in a cockroach first in the gravity ground shot, but that's okay. He still has a very big lead. Yeah, now this matchup's a little bit tougher, I think, for ZZaid. Gravity's just shutting in a lot of space with the air shot. Cockroach and Crescent also make hard to approach. Delta and diving are... He's getting a lot of chip in from Delta. A lot of chip. So they work well at long range, but the big damage comes from Needle, which he needs to be at like close to mid-range for. Dashes in, gets a shot in. Nice charge away from that shotgun, but doesn't really have anything available to him for this next shotgun. Like, Palshia's still just about in rebirth, so he can't really Needle. A little detail, nice throwing placement or burrow placement from Palshia there. He's like he has a bunch of stuff. Hold on, let me actually get my pen out. So he has a bunch of stuff over here. He has this throwing and this burrow, which is sort of locking down this area. ZZaid sees that. He's like, okay, well, I can't really go down this way. So he's trying to go around here. Palshia sees that, and he launches this burrow over here. Yeah. Doesn't quite land in the path where ZZaid is trying to go, but, I mean, still adds more pressure, makes it harder for ZZaid to move around the way that he wants to. I like that. It's just a little thing. I like that from Palshia. Nice dash in. Yeah, ZZaid's just kind of hovering in the air here. Gravity, like I mentioned, doesn't have direct pressure from the air shot. And Tomahawk also goes super high up. Float, all three of his floats are already out. He doesn't have anything he can do in the air here. I don't know if Palshia necessarily recognized that the floats were all out, but I mean, this is a very vulnerable position for ZZaid, so he just dashes in. Capitalizes on that. We got a very big lead now. Keeping up this close range pressure. Oh, that's unfortunate. But yeah, he's trying to keep up this close range pressure. Force ZZaid to make some panic move. Probably even looking for a charge. Then he can just jump back a little bit, get a easy shotgun in, and then ZZaid can't really tag. And if he does, he'll probably die. But yeah, ZZaid gets this little needle tag in. He checks out a Delta. He probably gets a little bit lucky here. This Delta ends up behind Palshia and pushes him into the criminal charge. But, I mean, that's how it goes. Sometimes Ape was low. Palshia probably could have just gone for an Ape charge, tried to invuln through any potential threats, and then maybe tag. So a little unfortunate that he dies here, but that happens. Next match on L form. Also, Palshia swaps from throwing P to throwing D. Just more coverage on the ground. Focusing more on putting pressure on that Swift. The criminal, it can go over and around D blast fairly easily. I don't know. It's a fine change, I guess. I don't know if I would have made that change, but it's not like significantly bad for Palshia, so it's whatever. Oh, same thing with these floats again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the last match. Like, float isn't a very fast pod, so even if you launch two of them in different directions, they're not going to go that far away from each other. But here, all three of them, they're like, since he launches them so quickly one after another in the same direction, they're all just kind of on top of each other. Not much additional pressure from the additional floats. This gravity shot there. What the heck? Did you get caught by the Burrow D? Oh! What? How did he get hit by that? That's crazy. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. Palshia's just on the ground, so he has all of his options available to him. So it's a nice, easy little jump over the needle, and then he's got so many D blasts out. Easy for, it's hard for ZZaid to dodge those. So Palshia sees that, he follows up easily. Oh my god, huge damage. Nice follow-up from the down there. It's a D-Blast into shotgun, that's like almost 200 damage. It's another one. And especially with the burrow, since burrow is so high damage. It's 272 damage off of one confirm. Yeah, so this is where I think ZZaid should be playing this matchup. Super long range. I don't know. I don't know about super long range. Probably mid to long range would be better to help enable needle a bit more, but since he's down health, I don't mind this super long range. He's checking out divings and needles, divings and deltas. And it's hard for Palshia to work around it. Oh, nice charge. Yeah, it's hard for Palshia to work around these divings and deltas since he's launching them so often and they have such consistent pressure. He's getting a good amount of chip damage in from that. But yeah, good charge there. He sees Palshia just does an empty dash in. And criminal charge is quick enough to punish that before Palshia can do anything else. Oh, another thing that's somewhat relevant. ZZaid is in the US, I think East Coast, and Palshia is in Japan. So they're playing on pretty high ping and buffer. Probably like 11 or 12 buffer. So reacting to stuff like this is especially hard in this matchup, but just kind of generally for Palshia, since he usually plays against people in the US. Or in NA. Yeah, I mean, even if they were on low buffer, you could like maybe just barely ape charge to invuln through this. But yeah, especially with the buffer, it's hard for him to react to that. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, in a straight up matchup, like chicken gravity versus swift gravity, chicken will out trade and overload the swift. But there, I think Palshia just predicted where ZZaid was going to run because it's fairly telegraphed and he just launches the gravity sooner than ZZaid does. He also gets a slight benefit about where the cover is. He can launch the gravity early without risk of it being blocked by that wall. I don't like this follow-up that much. I feel like he could have done Crescent P into Gravity Air Shot. And that would have been more consistent damage. Oh well. Oh, okay. Wait, what happened here? ZZaid just gets chipped out a little bit. Palshia's looking to try to catch a jump. Same with ZZaid, but neither are. That charge just a little bit out of range. Yeah, the little slide shot back from Palshia kept him out of range of that charge. Nice air shot there. Combo that from a cockroach. Oh no, Palshia, ZZaid just jumped into it. Okay. The pressure from diving in Delta, quite immense. That being said, this chicken hasn't taken much damage, still. Yeah, right there. Straight up gravity trade, and Palshia wins that. Nice follow up as well. Did he get an air shot on the down? Oh, there's just an air shot hanging up there, right? Yeah, okay. Speculative charges from ZZaid. That criminal charge was a solid option to try to invuln it through anything since they were so close range. Good movement and good bomb pod usage here from so he gets this down point blank. Super dangerous position for him now. Point blank against MG Shotgun, who just has rebirth. I think that was the right choice from Palshia, just to chuck that out in case ZZaid try to go for another needle or anything. Easy jump around that needle for him. Yeah, ZZaid, he's desperately trying to put some distance between him and the ape. especially because of how low his criminal is. But just in general, Ape Shotgun's pretty threatening close to mid range. So he uses, yeah, he's just checking out Delta and diving, doing a good job of stuffing Palshia's approach. Diving or Delta in general is a fairly strong anti-rush down. Ooh, I don't like this very much. Like, I get that Zaid's trying to make an opening where he can use Needle, get some good damage in, but this is just way too close, and there's no cover here. So he's just mashing Needle, so Palshia can just easily dash around and get a shotgun in. This charge is bizarre. Zaid's in a very rough position here, so he's keeping his distance. He's trying to poke, maybe get a little bit of ship in, but he gets shipped. Actually takes double damage from that Crescent P. One hit on each of his Robos. Look at this. Palshia gets hit by a diving here. Zaid launches a Delta, lands all around Palshia. He just stands still. He recognizes that a Delta will hit him if he tries to move, so he just sits there. Waits for a sec. That's good. Yeah, this went very unlikely that Zaid could possibly win this. Yeah. We'll just get a little gravity in there. Easy cleanup there. Zaid changes here to Meteor Storm, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Yeah, swap from the Needle to Meteor Storm. Meteor Storm is kind of a crazy gun. It hits fairly consistently. Super high damage output in its optimal like mid-range spacing. Yeah, it's a gun that Zaid's been using a lot. Eee. Yeah, Swift Charge it has a lot of range and it's very fast, but it doesn't have quite that much range. So it just walks back a little. Easy punish. You don't want to be giving easy punishes to empty shotgun. It just shits out damage, especially with the Burrow D. Yeah. Oh, he didn't actually change to Meteor Storm. Oops, my bad. Does that later in the set. Okay, I think he wanted to dash some more. Let me look at his controller this time. Yeah, he wanted to dash behind some of this cover, but he just landed a little too soon. I think that might have been the buffer coming into play there. But yeah, he just lands out in the open, pretty close to Palshia, and he just dashes into shotguns. Nice movement from Zaid. Oh. I was gonna say, nice movement from Zaid. He's trying to stay somewhat close so he can try to threaten gravity shots. He's doing a decent job dodging around these D-blasts, but yeah, that Burrow just comes out of nowhere. Smacks him out of the air. Palshia is surprisingly good at hitting people in the air with bombs, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. He's gotten some solid hits on this ape, but the chicken gravity is still untouched. It's not looking great. Solid charge. Like Crescent could have opened up for easy gravity follow-up, so he did take a hit after the charge to that cockroach, but he was able to get it down in and deny potential bigger follow-up. So even though he got hit right out of that charge, I don't hate that. Nice follow-up on those divings. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure if Zaid recognized that those divings were right there, but he had a good amount of time to see that those were coming up. He gets a nice follow-up into add those divings into his needle, and then the charge to close it out. Nice charge there. Yeah, so it's a little needle there to get it down. Good charge to that shotgun. And Palshia's just getting maybe a little bit antsy trying to get some shotgun hits in. Victory's gonna dash? No, he just used that dash. So he'd use all 3 of his dashes, so there wasn't anywhere else for him to go. Didn't have quite enough time to put a delta out and stuff that approach. What? Yeah, that was a pretty telegraphed charge. Yeah. His Palshia is landing here. He's like a little bit vulnerable for a bit. Yeah, so he's vulnerable there, but he has enough time to recover. Recognize that charge is coming and dodge out of the way of it. And that's an easy punish for him. Because he doesn't dash away, he just jumps over it. Which is enabled by him having high jump. MG high jump is kind of sneaky good for stuff like this. Because their dash is already quite good, their ground speed's never going to be that good. And high jump enables stuff like this. So it's a bunch of damage again, like 200. There's a thing that I mentioned earlier as well. He launches this throwing to the right, over like here-ish. And then the burrow over here-ish. So, yeah, he's kind of like trying to pincer ZZaid into this corner here, which is especially easy on Diamond because of the orientation of these walls. Yeah, he forces a jump out of ZZaid, but he's not able to like capitalize on that. Just barely catches his criminal as he's trying to dash away. No follow-up with that burrow D. That's a little unfortunate that didn't hit. But he had enough time to like aim that a little bit more. Oh, actually, he got hit by a float. No, okay, that was after. Yeah, he had a little bit more time to try to aim that and actually get that hit, but that's fine. He's diving, swooping in. He managed to catch ZZaid here with this gravity before they finish closing in on him. Does he get caught on that wall? Not really. Oh. Yeah, he's just out in the open. His criminal's one hit. I think he jumps into that air shot. Yeah, he jumps into the air shot. It happens. Ah, right. Yeah, he swaps his swift gravity to his criminal meteor storm. Meteor storm Gemini D. Gemini D is great at just spamming out hitboxes. Its fire rate is fairly high, and the blast lasts for quite a while. It launches 2 of them, so it just puts a bunch of shit on the ground. And Palshia does like playing fairly grounded, even with chicken. So, solid choice there. Feint G, good long range pressure. G blast is fairly tall, so it can even catch chicken and ape if they're not careful about how they move around. Well, chicken and high jump ape if they're not careful about how they move around the G blasts. Meteor storm, like I mentioned earlier, fairly consistent gun. Like people call it a casino gun, but if you're careful about how you use it, you can generally get really high damage, like 150 on a single shot, which is kind of crazy. If you're too close, then the opponent won't cut down, they can just trade you out. But even then, it still does a decent chunk of damage. Back to Diamond fences. It's fine. Diamond's technically a counter pick, but it's not. It's like still a fairly neutral stage. Oh my god, like look at this. He just dashes in. It's 120 damage off the bat. Yeah. He's just checking out hitboxes with his bombs and pods. They're very spammable, very quick. It can get tough for Palshia to move around freely. Palshia was trying to... I don't know why he launched a shotgun here. He tried to dash in, but he got hit by that meteor storm. He didn't try to dash in again, so I don't know. His misinput completely was that shotgun. Sees you punish for ZZaid. I like this a lot from ZZaid. So he recognizes that he's putting a shit ton of pressure on Palshia with the Gemini and Feint. A bunch of damage into the ape with the meteor storm. And he's not like backing off. He's keeping up the pressure. He stays close. Keeps on launching his bombs and pods. Poking with those needles. He's not giving Palshia time to like mentally recover, mentally reset. He gets hit a little bit here, so he backs off. I think Palshia thought he was gonna try to dash in, but he just dashes to the side. No risk of getting hit by that chicken charge. Just dash around. Maybe Palshia picked up on that little pause, and he's like, oh, I can get a shotgun in here, but they just uses his last dash. And he sees that shotgun, he has plenty of time to punish that. Yeah, that's what I was talking about with Meteor Storm not downing if it's too close. Palshia has an opportunity here to dash in and get a shotgun. Like he's in the air, ZZaid's still in endline from Meteor Storm. But he just doesn't recognize that he didn't get down fast enough. And ZZaid just charges through that shotgun. Closes out with the Gemini ID. I think this game, game 4 was probably knowledge check. Meteor Storm's not that common of a gun. And Palshia doesn't play that often outside of tourneys, so he probably wouldn't have seen ZZaid using this Meteor Storm a lot. And if you're not ready for it to do like 150 damage from mid-range, then you can get caught off guard pretty easily. It's not. There is some counterplay. There's like really easy counterplay from Meteor Storm, which is just keeping up your strafe, playing outside of its range. It's a little tough with Palshia's builds. So yeah, if you're not prepared for it, then it's just a lot of free hits for ZZaid. Here, Palshia technically does something against the rules. He changes a part on his first build and on his second build. I don't think the booster swap had that much of an impact. And he only changes 2 parts on the chicken, but still, I think swapping from chicken to May is a pretty big change. Whatever. On Nature Park, so Palshia doesn't actually pick stages, he just goes random. But I think the Nature Park pick helps ZZaid quite a bit more. There's not that much cover for Palshia to play around to try to like position, get close enough with the shotgun. Meteor Storm Needle generally outrange shotgun gravity. So I think this is favorable for ZZaid. He gets chipped by a couple of D blasts. Oh, yeah, Palshia's Gemini's not going to directly hit him, neither is Feint. But he's just kind of hunkering down in this corner. He tries to dash out, but his Feint's in the way. He's caught by those, but it's not much damage. Meteor Storm from ZZaid. And he tried to follow up on that G blast. Just a little bit too slow. He could have gotten a lot of damage out of that. He just keeps getting chipped by these D blasts. So yeah, at this point in the match, I think ZZaid has had more pressure on Palshia, but he's just gotten chipped by so many D blasts that Palshia's still in the lead. Oh. Yeah, that time Palshia was ready to punish not getting down there. Little dash in. Ooh, just barely. So yeah, outspaces a charge. There's a little jump back, but ZZaid still had enough invulnerability to get some needles in. Yeah, he needs to be worried of like pressing a cockroach here. So good dash out. Yeah, like even as high as SS can jump. Look at this. Look at the height of these Delta blasts. It's not easy for Palshia to jump over this even. It's pretty solid area denial in Delta. Yes, they kind of back up, which is not great for Gravity being such a mid-range gun. It's a nice ground shot to air shot. Yeah, there's that little strafe around Meteor Storm. Yeah, after that first game against Meteor Storm, I think Palshia figured out pretty well what he needs to do to play around it. Like I said, just strafe around it, get us out of its range. He's not able to put as much pressure with like Gravity Ground Shot as he maybe wants to, but he's still able to check out hitboxes and make it tough for ZZaid to approach with Meteor Storm. A little dash away there. There again. Nice cockroach into Gravity Air Shot. That's why it's so good with G and P blasts. You can just chuck him out. If you manage to get a hit, it's easy to either you're already in the air or you're on the ground. You can just do an instant air shot or like grounded air shot, and you can get follows like this fairly easily off of G and P blasts. Oh, disgusting. Yeah, there's a bunch of damage right there at the end off of these air shot combos. Like 300 across both of his robos. 50. Easy closeout for Palshia. Solid performance from ZZaid though. Definitely, like taking Palshia to 5 is something to be proud of for sure. Yeah, Meteor Storm is a solid gun. I think he probably could have afforded to bring that out earlier. Like I said, Meteor Storm caught Palshia off guard in game 4, but he made good adaptations in game 5 to play around it and sort of limit its effectiveness. Close out the win. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about for this match. Like I said, if anyone's interested in seeing me talk about other matches, let me know. I'm happy to talk for another hour about any other match. If you're interested in what you saw here in terms of gameplay, definitely check out the Custom Robo Videos YouTube channel, which is where we stream all of our tourneys and other events. Check out the Custom Robo Discord, which I will link in the description. We play multiple times a week. We have regular weekly and monthly events. Yeah, thanks for sticking around and watching, and rock on, Commanders.